Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl, and we're here for the last episode in our faction focus of the Lizardmen, where we're taking a look at the 8th edition army book, looking at the units and seeing how they played then to seeing how they might play in Warhammer The Old World. And as with all the faction focus videos, while the legendary lords and heroes may well not have rules and not be in Warhammer The Old World, especially given this faction isn't a core faction, we do add it in for completeness and for interest, particularly for those people that haven't come across the Lizardmen before. So we're now going to take a look at the legendary heroes for the Lizardmen, and there are 5 of them. So first up is Chakax, the Eternity Warden. Few saw as Temple Guard will prove worthy enough to guard a Slann at his most vulnerable, meditating in the Eternity Chamber. Those few who do are given the title of Eternity Warden. Now, in the city of Zlanhuapek, Chakax holds this title and has defended Mage Priests of the City of Mists for a millennia. He has at times been known to maintain his vigil over a meditating Slann for many centuries at a time. He is the eldest of the city's Temple Guard and has never failed in his task, butchering whole regiments of foes that have dared the attempt. He has also become expert at discerning the most covert of threats, such as assassins, and then flattens them with a mighty two-handed swing of his star stone mace. So, you can see Chakax there on the right-hand side. That's him on a square base. Now, he is still available today in the Seraphon, not as a named character, but just known as an Eternity Warden. So it's more of a role, but that essentially is the Chakax model. And so you still have a way of getting hold of him. How does he play though? He's got good weapon skill, strength, toughness, attacks and leadership, low wounds and initiative. Comes with light armor. Now, the Starstone Mace, magic weapon, +2 strength, always strikes last, and enemy models in base combat must reveal their magic items. If he hits, roll a d6, on a 5+, one randomly determined item is destroyed. He also has the Helm of the Prime Guardian. This is magic armor. So he gets +1 to his save. So he's got scaly skin, 5+. He gets light armor, and then +1 to his save. Scouts also may not deploy within 20 inches of him, and hidden units such as assassins and night goblin fanatics must be revealed if moved within 20 inches. So no sneaking up on this guy. He also has the key to the Eternity Chamber. This is an enchanted item, and it basically means in a challenge he has a 5+ ward save and the opponent strikes last. He's got the basic Saurus rules and the Temple Guard rule. He's also an Eternity Warden, which means he must always issue a challenge, and he re-rolls hit rolls in that challenge. He's also the ultimate bodyguard, and all models in his unit gain Unbreakable. That is another interesting character, but one that he definitely feels overcosted, especially given the focus on him is on challenges, which could be situational and potentially easy to avoid. He's only 30 points cheaper than a Slann, and I would definitely prefer a Slann or 2 Old Bloods, and at best, he could be taken for a Temple Guard Death Star maybe. So like if you're building this big old unit of Temple Guard with a whole bunch of characters, you could maybe put him in there with a Slann. To be honest, I think he needs a rework in terms of his rules or significant points decrease to be viable in the Old World, if he's even in it, which he may well not be. But there you go. So yeah, not seen that often. Not really. He's got some good weapons and stuff and some good rules that just tend to be quite situational with how he was used. And better options, I think, out there overall. Next up, though, Gorok, the Great White Lizard. When Gorok emerged from the spawning pool of Itza, his size and pure albino colourings marked him as a future champion. He has since fought in countless battles, and his heavily scarred body a testament to many thousands of hard-fought battles. He does not know pain nor fear, and in combat he is unrelenting, always looking for an opening to attack while never taking a step backwards. Unlike most of his species, he is oversized and has survived horrendous wounds, but none have prevented him from achieving victory. As befits his sacred status, he has been gifted the finest armaments and skink attendants to attend to his every need at the apex of Itza's tallest pyramid. At the Battle of Blood Pools, it was Gorok who slew the savage orc war boss and his wyvern, putting flight to the greenskins. He has slain foes as far away as the Chaos Wastes, and even in naval battles against the Dark Elves and sea monsters. You can see his 8th edition model there on the right hand side, and he is currently no longer available, so you would have to try and do some type of conversion for him or find a third party website. Stat-wise, good weapon skill, strength, toughness, attacks and leadership, low wounds and initiative. Equipment-wise, he has the Mace of Ulumak, a magic weapon which re-rolls failed hits, and he gains an extra attack from Predatory Fighter. The Shield of Aeons, magic armor, +2 save from the shield instead of +1, and charging enemies must immediately take a dangerous terrain test at -1. Usual Saurus rules, stubborn and resilient, which means on a 2+, he becomes immune to killing blow, heroic killing blow, and multiple wounds with only 1 wound caused. Now, this guy is 2.5 times more expensive than a standard Scar Vet. He gains +1 toughness and virtual immunity to multiple wounds killing blow. And he gets 2 magic items, which the weapon is pretty nice, the shield is okay. Now, I never saw Gorok on the tabletop. I consider him overcosted, as many of the legendary characters in 8th edition are. To be honest, better to take 2 basic Scar veterans, choose magic items that synergize with the aim of your army list, than take this guy. When you've got one of them on the table, it becomes easier to avoid him, and I'd just rather have the flexibility of having two Scar veterans. And magic items for the same cost as he is. So, yeah, unfortunately, a common theme of being an overcosted legendary hero. Next up, though, we've got the skink legendary hero of Teto Echo, Astromancer of the Constellations, and you can see him here. This was his actual model. Looks very similar to a skink Starseer, but this is actually the specific one for Teto Echo. He's the chief astromancer of the Temple of the Eclipse in Tlaxlan, with his appearance on the battlefield heralding events of such importance that heavenly bodies realign themselves in his favour. At over a century old, he is ancient for a skink, and yet his mind is quick, and his unprecedented ability to predict the future only seems to improve. He was spawned when the true moon obscured the cursed moon, which was seen as an ill omen. However, with the coming of Teto Echo, it has now been pronounced a sign of good fortune. By Teto Echo's predictions, many dire events have been averted, such as the Skaven forces being defeated at Quetzal and the sending of Oxyotl to the hidden enclave of Skaven assassins waiting to ambush Lord Mazdamundi. It is said that the Lizardmen have never lost a battle with Teto Echo being present, and the Slan mage priests have even gifted him a palanquin to carry his frail body. So famous are his predictions that even Saurus Temple Guard bow low to him as he hovers across the city to attend his many star viewings. Stats-wise, he's got low stats across the board, as you might expect, with good movement of 6. He comes with a hand weapon and then the Eye of the Old Ones. This is an enchanted item. After deploying, can consult the Eye to give D3 units Vanguard. That's not bad. Stellar Staff is an arcane item. If he successfully casts the Comet of Cassandora, he may re-roll the dice at the start of each magic phase to see if the comet arrives. Level 2 Wizard with the Law of Heavens, cold-blooded, scaly skin, aquatic, arcane, and vassal. Now he's the Herald of Cosmic Events. Roll a d6 at the start of each magic phase. On a 2+, all wizards re-roll power dice rolls of 1. No range on that. All wizards re-roll power dice rolls of 1. Very nice. He's a Law Master of the Law of Heavens. He's a 5+ ward save. And the Palanquin of Constellations, he always re-rolls failed dangerous terrain tests, infantry but never considered to be on foot, and he can join skink cohorts, even if they include Croxagors. Now that's quite nice. So, while twice the price of a level 2 skink, his Herald of Cosmic Events is incredibly useful. For Slann and himself, definitely worth a consideration depending on how you're building your army, such as no Slann but with multiple skink priests could be quite nice. Personally, I tended to stick with 500 to 600 points of lords and heroes, which was normally a Slann and a couple of Scar vets, but again, not a terrible choice here, definitely usable, and that Herald of Cosmic Events ability is really quite nice, So there you go, that's Teto Echo. Now we've got Tic-Tac-Toe, Master of Skies. So when it comes to aerial combat and leading bold hit and run attacks, the skink known as Tic-Tac-Toe has no equal. He rides a particularly fierce pterodon called Zwup, leading his squadron of flying reptiles on reckless paths through dense vegetation or steep-sided valleys. He holds the title of Master of Skies of Hexoatl, which is a preeminent position among skink chiefs, answerable only to the skink priests and Slann mages. As a gift for holding this position, he was given the Mask of Heavens and the fearsome Blade of Ancient Skies. He spends long periods of time on Temple City patrols, and no patrol leader has picked out as many intruders or spotted as many rampaging beasts as Tic-Tac-Toe. He has been known to win many victories against larger size forces, such as picking up and dropping the savage orc war boss from the Blue Viper tribe, breaking their morale, and the vital delaying action against the hordes of Vashnar the Tormentor. And you can see actually did have his own model here, no longer available, but he did have his own specific model here on the right hand side. So he's got good movement as you'd expect from a flyer, weapon skill, ballistic skill, initiative, attacks and leadership, low toughness and wound. Mask of the Heavens, enchanted item. All pterodons in his unit use his weapon skill, and enemy units are -1 to hit when shooting. That's pretty nice. The Blade of Ancient Skies, magic weapon, no armor saves, +1 to hit against models with the Fly special rule. And he must be mounted on Zwup. So, he's got the normal pterodon rules, flying cavalry, fear, forest rider, drop rocks, Master of the Skies, and ambushers. One unit of pterodon riders can be upgraded with the ambushers rule for 5 points per model. So he's more than twice the cost of a skink chief riding a pterodon. However, with his abilities and the buffs, he would definitely be worth a consideration, especially if you're teching into a large unit of pterodon riders. You know, if you've got a unit of like 9+ pterodon riders, the -1 to hit and the +1 weapon skill would be very useful. However, it does remain to be seen if a large unit of pterodons have that much value over a smaller harassing unit. You know, I normally take 6, drop the rocks and then harass. Would you really gain that much by taking a big unit and him with his points? Maybe, maybe not. Large blocks of infantry again being the main meta during the 8th edition. However, this could significantly change. Like if the games become more objective focused, a flying character like him leading units of pterodons could be really, really cool and really interesting when going after those objectives, delaying people from reaching objectives, that sort of thing. So could be a real interesting one in future games if, and it's a big if, he's even included in any rules for Warhammer The Old World, which there's a good chance he won't be, being a named character and also a non-core faction. So the last Lizardmen legendary hero that we're coming on is Oxyotl, he that hunts unseen. One of the rare breed of chameleon skinks, Oxyotl was already an accomplished hunter when chaos came to the world. Despite mounting bold ambushes, he and his kin were forced back into the temple city of Pahal. However, even there the magical barrier crumbled before the onslaught of chaos. A Slann mage tried to save the city, but in attempting to cast a powerful spell, he was sucked into the realm of chaos with his last Saurus protectors and Oxyotl himself, with the city aging a millennia in mere seconds. Oxyotl awoke to find himself in a living nightmare, surrounded by demons. He was alone, but his innate ability to blend into his surroundings allowed him to survive unnoticed, using his instincts and cunning. The passage of time flows strangely within the realm of chaos, and Oxyotl glimpsed firsthand the fate of all races of the world should the fight against chaos falter and the planet be overtaken by dark gods. After trials almost beyond enduring, he found a path back to Lustria, passing through fell places, and even discovering the fabled city of the lost city of the Old Ones, yet he tells no tales. He returned to Lustria 7,000 years later to find the Lizardmen's realm fallen low and the lesser races spreading like a plague. And there you go, he actually did have his own miniature, and as you can see, actually a lot of the Lizardmen named characters, with the exception of Master Mundi, actually did have their own miniature. And you can see here this is Oxyotl, but no longer available like many of the others, and so you're either going to have to find third parties, convert your own, or maybe there'll be a last one of these made to order things that happen, but being a named character and not a core faction, unlikely to be in the rules, though we've yet to see. Oxyotl, stats wise, good movement, ballistic skill, initiative and leadership, low toughness and wounds. Equipment, hand weapon, he's got the golden blowpipe of Patuhi, 12 inches, strength 3, multiple shots 3 and poisoned. Cold-blooded, scaly skin, aquatic, scout, sniper, chameleon, enemy units -1 to hit when shooting, and master predator. If he's stationary, shooting attacks become auto wound on a 5+ to hit. Now he's only in 120 points, but for a single chameleon, that feels initially overcosted. But in the right situation, with some sneaky play, he could become the bane of enemy wizards with the sniper rule, combined with multiple shots and poisoned, and he's got a ballistic skill of 6. So he's only strength 3, but wizards tend to be quite low toughness, right? He's getting 3 shots, poisoned, ballistic skill 6, pretty nice. Not a bad choice for a legendary hero, and the only one that I used in multiple non-narrative games. So we've talked about the value of some of the others. It tended to be, when you're playing a more meta game, for example, this is the only one who I actually used on multiple occasions for the purpose of trying to snipe out a character with some chameleons, which I rarely took, but this could make them valuable. And there you go, that's the last episode and the last unit of our Lizardmen faction focus. I hope you've enjoyed the entire series. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And if you want to see more content, then hit that subscribe button. It's free for you to do. It means a big deal for me. And in terms of that future content, we've got Warriors of Chaos up next, then Orcs and Goblins with the Wood Elf bringing up the rear. Can't find the Skaven book, so we're not going to be able to get to the Skaven, unfortunately, unless I'm able to somehow get hold of a Skaven book before the end. But that's what we've got coming up after the Christmas period. So as we move into the new year, 3 more faction books to go through, and by then we may well even have the Old World released at that point, and we can start to get into some actual Old World content as opposed to just the Warhammer community articles and a look back at previous Warhammer Fantasy Battle content. You've been watching The Ghost Style. Tune back in for some more videos, Warhammer The Old World, or video games if that's your thing as well. Please check them out.